Hey my friend, did you notice it too? Where does all this oversensitivity in society come from? You can see it on the streets, in the news, in schools and universities. People are so afraid, period, about all kinds of things. And we might wonder, why is that? How did this happen? And there's obviously a multitude of reasons for that. And one of them is that parents are so scared about the health of their children that they are overprotecting by not understanding what they're actually doing to their loved ones. Because if you take away all of these opportunities to learn and grow, they cannot build up the resilience and the competence to deal with the real world. Kids who grow up in such an environment start to build up all of these anxiety disorders. They fear about the future, they fear about others, about the weather, about getting a cold, about getting judged from other people, or just not being enough. So even though these parents have loving and caring intentions, the results are harmful and debilitating. They want to protect their children from all kinds of pain, suffering, disease and disappointment. But in return, by only focusing on preventing these things, they actually bring them more into their lives. This is one of the cornerstones why we see the world right now as it is, with all of this turmoil, separation and polarization in society. And even more extreme than that is the tendency that in the name of tolerance and anti-discrimination, people are not able anymore to listen to the opinions of others who they don't agree with. So in the name of misinformation and disinformation, which is defined by themselves, these entities can choose what content they want to see online and what not, suppressing free speech for the cause of their own agenda and narrative. And the most crazy part is that they are actually convinced that they are doing good with that, not understanding that by starting to use Orwellian methods to silence your political or economic opponents, they are starting to bring a stone into rolling motion, which they will never be able to stop. Because as soon as these methods will no longer be effective enough to spread their agenda and keep them in power, these institutes and governments will be willing to take even more severe actions to stay in power, totally oblivious to the fact what they're actually doing, because they are just believing that the opposition, the political opponent, is so bad that that actually justifies their actions. On a different level, you can experience this oversensitivity in society in everyday conversations. By simply saying something, a generalizing statement, you will trigger people and create a difficult, painful and dramatic situation. And in that moment, it is not about whether your statement was true and accurate or not. It is simply about the fact that you are, with your statement, ignoring that there are also exceptions to your generalizing statement, which is obvious because every generalizing statement will always have exceptions. People are so desperately searching for political correctness and inclusive language that they are not realizing how insanely dependent they make themselves to the words of others. It is so ridiculous to be a slave to the mouth of a different person. But by not reflecting this deeply, these people make this decision unconsciously and therefore causing immense pain for themselves and the people around them. This is not to say that we as society should not make progress and stop developing ourselves as human beings. But progress is not made by forcing others to submit to your commands on how you want them to speak and not to speak. Progress is made by looking inwards. What am I doing? Feeling and thinking. How can I improve my health, well-being and competence on every level of human experience? The biggest mistake we can all make and most of us probably did at least once, is to stop focusing on us, on our limitations and perceptions, and start to look externally for the reasons of our pain. This will never solve the problems of this world. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe right here, and if you want to watch another one, you can click right here. I'll see you in the next one. Much love.